Good morning. I don't know if you can hear it, but the roosters are crowing. So today we're going to be replacing a radiator and an LJ. This is my TJ, but it's just like it from, that part up. And these things are so super simple. Mine has some AC connectors here, his will not. But it's just 3 bolts on each side for the shroud, and then 3 bolts on each side for the radiator. And then once you get all the hoses unhooked, it will pop right out. Guys, enjoy the video. So this Jeep still has the stock radiator, and we're not doing a step-by-step how do you change the radiator, but we will go over any of the tips and tricks that we see. And the first thing I see is this fan shroud is not a clamshell type. So we'll look at that and figure that out. Hopefully we don't have to take the fan clutch off. We'll figure that out too. There's a couple tricks to doing that. So this Jeep has what happens to every Jeep eventually, and every vehicle eventually, the plastic tank on the bottom. The Jeep has the plastic tanks on the top and bottom, not on the sides. The one on the bottom is leaking around the seal to the metal tank. So you can't get them rebuilt if the plastic's not busted, or even if it is. A lot of places will put new plastic tanks on them. Pretty cheap, but you gotta have a radiator shop nearby, or you can just get a new radiator, and we got a new radiator, Champion radiator for it. So right now we're just gonna drain what's in it tonight and then start in it fresh in the morning. There is a petcock on the bottom. I don't know if you can see it. You might be able to. If not, it's down there, I promise. Like right through there. We're gonna put a 5-gallon bucket under it, go ahead and open it up and let it drain. And then maybe even disconnect the lower radiator hose and let that drain, because the worst part about doing a radiator is getting coolant everywhere, all over your hands and arms and everything else. So I lied. We're going to do more than just take the fluid out. We went ahead and took these 4 self-tappers out of the fan shroud so we can move it back. That should be good. I don't think it's going to be in the way. I don't think the fan's going to be in the way either. So this is an automatic, and there is 2 transmission lines going into the bottom of the radiator we'll have to deal with next. And then of course take the bottom hose off. We did take the top hose off. We're replacing the hoses, so we took them all the way off. The radiator is not dripping anymore, so we may go ahead and take that bottom hose off and let that get nice and dried out for us. I don't think we're going to have to worry about the condenser. I think we'll be able to get it out from around it. So guys, we are to the point of almost getting this thing out. We took 2 transmission lines off. Once I get this out, I'll show you how we did that. It's a simple connector. We did watch a YouTube video that showed us kind of how to do it. We just used a pocket knife. I think that guy used a pick. I'll show you in about 10 seconds how we did it. I think you're loose. There might be like that was the socket that I lost.
Oh, that was that socket.
Yeah, that was a 10mm I lost a while back. They might have some like wind deflector, like rubber shielding that might be stapled in down there. Not stapled in, but push pinned in. Hold on.
No, it's just this hitting right there.
Oh, there you go. I got you. Yeah. Just run it like that, Russell. It's got plenty of airflow. So these are the transmission lines. This little clip that holds them in, it just goes kind of around there and on that. And so all you do, when you pry the little plastic boot off, there'll be a little white plastic boot on these. You just gotta get your blade down in there and pull it off like that. They might go flying, they might not, you never know. If you got a pick, I guess that works better. The video we watched did show a guy using a pick, and it seemed pretty easy. So we just figured we'd use a pocket knife because, that's all we got. We came to our first issue with this Champion radiator. It comes with these, hold on, let me get in the light. It comes with these flared, barbed, I guess best word for it, pieces. That go into the radiator that you run your transmission lines into. Just made for a hose and a hose clamp. And of course the Mopar version is this style. This will not fit in that. That's got a much larger, you can see there. Got a different set of threads and a much larger piece. I mean, not much larger, but large enough to where it don't work. So the question is if we go to the parts store, will this be available in a larger thread that can match that, so we can just put it in that? Or the other choice, yes, this is sealed with O-ring. The other choice would be to go ahead and install these into the radiator. And you can see the line is also barbed, and run a very short hose between this and that line. Just use a hose clamp on both sides. Don't know why it wouldn't work. There isn't any reason why it wouldn't work. It should work. This is the same size as that. So the same size inner diameter hose would work for both. Really no reason why it wouldn't work. After a day of hiatus for going and picking up that bad ride, which we'll talk about later, we found these, which say GM adapter. And these will go, you see it's got the barbed fitting, or I'm sorry, the push-in fitting. And it has the right size and thread and beveled edge to go into the actual bottom here. You have to buy those adapters if you're going to run this Champion radiator in an 04 TJ. It's definitely something you'll run into. I think those were $6 a piece, so you have to spend an extra $12 there. Unless you want to use a patch hose. Guys, one additional note on these GM parts, Dorman, what was it, 801, 605, something like that? Anyway.
800, 605.
800, 605. So this is a GM adapter, not a Chrysler adapter, and it looked like it'd work. I mean, it looks so much like it would work, but it don't. The hose will not seat far enough down to that bevel to get the clip on. It's just, it is ever so slightly off, like the width of the clip off. No matter how much you press or push, you can't gonna get on there. So what we did was we took our Dremel and we just beveled it out a little bit more. It's got an interior O-ring. That's actually what seals the transmission fluid. And now the clip just barely pops on there and gets nice and seated. It's super tight. The small grinding stone on my Dremel and just beveled it out ever so slightly. I mean, it's literally the width of one of those small C-clips. Probably another answer. I don't know what it is. We're kind of stuck in the garage, so we had to make something work. Here's a little pro tip for you. If you are going to change the radiator hoses, you know, just don't be dumb and do it while the radiator's out and you got all that access to the front. We forgot to disconnect the upper radiator hose, so we have now taken the belt off and we're fighting with it. So we're going to keep fighting. Fight the good fight. Just an update. We're, 17 hours into this 90-minute job. We had to clear the plastic shroud here because the bolt holes didn't quite line up. They're about a 1/4 inch off, maybe an 1/8 of an inch off. We did get the transmission lines in. They might leak, they might not. I don't know. We'll find out. But top hose and tighten up these bolts. They're ready to put coolant in it. You gonna put water in it first, or how you gonna do it? You gonna run water in case it leaks like hell, or just go ahead and let her fly like Mussolini from the rooftop?
Fill it up without putting the top hose on yet?
No, I was just saying, if it did have a massive leak and we had to drain it again, you'd waste all your coolant. Or do you just want to run? Of course, we'd have to drain the water out. So I say we just let it ride. All right, fellas, time for a test drive. Let's see. It's leaking. We don't know if the transmission lines are on a hole, but it'll be fine. All right, it was a success, kind of. We still think it might be leaking. We're gonna check the transmission fluid, make sure we didn't lose too much. Transmission, great. So those adapters work, but maybe it was just a machining issue. I don't know. Either way, both adapters, I had to take a Dremel and pull out that shoulder. Of course, again, the adapter has no ring in it, so it's no big deal. Leaking anymore. So maybe there was some leftover residue where we spilled some that was working its way out. Back on 210, so that's great. So that means that all the air is burped out of the system. I think we successfully changed the radiator. We're official mechanics at this point. So guys, no more Jeep in the garage. I'll be doing a video on this tire machine when we get it hooked up and going. But the radiator swap went great. There was no issue. I do know that Russell has already driven several hundred miles with no leaks on the transmission lines and no leaks in the coolant. So we did everything right.
What are you doing in there?
Making a video. What are you doing?
I'm standing here.
You're just standing there. Are you cold?
No, I just get my blower.
Your blower is right there, buddy.
I will blow it.
Do it real quick and then go get pants on. All right, go get pants, and then you can pick it up and run around with it. And maybe shoes. So guys, not really a how-to, but there was a couple tips and tricks that we showed. Hopefully that helps some of y'all. Like, share, and subscribe if it helps you at all. And I will see y'all later.